Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you about a discovery. It's a new technology concerned with carbon capture and storage, and it's causing a great deal of interest among environmentalists. It's cheap, it's efficient, and it requires no new technological breakthrough, and it can be deployed straight away. It is called leaving fossil fuels in the ground. Now, on Wednesday, as the leaders, or so-called leaders of our nations, the pollutocracy, as I now call them, gathered in Bali to prevaricate over climate change, a group of us in some pretty filthy weather marched onto an open-cast coal mine which is being built on the outskirts of Merthyr Tydfil, and we occupied the coal excavators. We brought the works at that pit to an end for the day. This one mine, the Phosphorus mine, intends to extract 11 million tonnes of coal, 30 million tonnes of carbon dioxide that will produce equivalent to the sustainable emissions of nearly 60 million people. We have noticed something which all the wise heads at Bali had somehow overlooked, that when you dig fossil fuels out of the ground, they get used. And at the moment we have a government which is pursuing, or claims to be pursuing, two completely contrary policies. The first is to dissuade us by all possible means from using fossil fuels. Change our light bulbs, drive more efficient cars, turn the television off at the mains. The second is to encourage by all possible means the extraction of fossil fuels from the ground. Do they believe that these companies extract them as a hobby? The government has spent since 2000 £220 million on subsidising the extraction of coal in the United Kingdom. Just 2 days ago, just as the Bali talks began, the government gave the fossil fuel industry another big present in the form of a tax break for the oil companies operating in the North Sea. This was described by Angela Eagle, a minister in the Treasury, as the purpose being to ensure that no oil that can be removed will be left in the ground. Every barrel, ladies and gentlemen, every ton, every crumb, every drop that is taken out of the ground will be burnt. Every crumb, every drop, every barrel, every ton commits us to more carbon dioxide emissions and commits us eventually to runaway climate change. And any government which makes any pretense to seriousness in dealing with this problem will stop those fossil fuels from being extracted. But this government is not serious. In fact, no government at the moment is serious, because no government on earth has a supply-side policy. It's all about managing demand. It's all about encouraging us not to use the fossil fuels once they've been taken out of the ground. There is no policy to discourage the supply of those fossil fuels, so no climate policy currently can possibly work. If the fossil fuels are extracted, they will be used. We have to stop that extraction. But this just touches on the notion that governments are not prepared, they are not even preparing to stop runaway climate change. They might nip and tuck a little bit in Bali, they might suggest the odd percentage cut here and there. But they are not grappling with the technological problem, the economic problem, the political problem, the philosophical problem, the moral problem of climate change. And it exceeds the scope of their thinking by several orders of magnitude. Let me give you an example of the challenge which we confront. Growth rates at the moment in the global economy are roughly 3.6% per year. That means that the level of economic activity worldwide doubles every 20 years or so. As a series of equations produced recently by Professor Rodney Smith at Imperial College show, a doubling in economic activity means, in effect, a doubling in resource use. Not a doubling in the resources used in the previous 20 years, no. A doubling in the resources used since humanity first stood on two legs. In other words, in 20 years, between now and 2027, at current rates of growth, we will use as many resources as humanity has ever used. By the end of this century, at current rates of growth, our expansion, our economic expansion, will have increased something like 18-fold over current levels. And that means, according to Professor Smith's calculations, an 18-fold increase in resource use, 18 times that which human beings have ever used. And this level of economic growth, according to our government, indeed according to all the world's governments, is called sustainable development. It is simply impossible to sustain. And we will see the biosphere go down, and then we will see ourselves go down in pursuit of this so-called sustainable development.